Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our strength where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Back to another episode of Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I am here with my Scott Fish Bowl bros, Robbie and Cody. What's up, dudes?
Straight back from Canton, Ohio, baby.
That's right. What a drive back it was.
It was. All 37 minutes of it.
It was a good
I had
time.
a little longer, but it's right.
Yeah.
I didn't end up getting home till 2 a.m. and it wasn't because I got to enjoy and bask in all of the fun, what was it? Doubletree hanging out time that was available.
Yeah.
But I did get to go and see and meet a couple people. It was amazing. I had to leave a little early to a diaper party. You guys stayed a little bit longer, yeah?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, we probably stayed at least an hour and a half longer after you.
Yeah, it was probably 6:30 or 7.
Yeah. So I got back around 8, I would say, from the drive. It was fun, man. We met a lot of cool people, a lot of people in the industry that I'm glad we got to meet, and they're excited to meet us. And everyone was super awesome, super fun. They want to come on the show. We want to go on their show. It was a very good melting pot of people that everyone had the same interests. Everyone wanted to get along. Everyone wanted to help each other out. It was a blast, dude.
Even with different areas of specialties, you had Dynasty nerds, you had, your redraft people, you had people focused on the expo, you had people focused on, DFS and some of the betting stuff that's coming to Ohio. It was a wide variety, but everybody somewhere in the fantasy world.
Yeah.
I remember driving home that night and just feeling this overwhelming confidence and being in this community or industry or whatever you want to call it. I just being with them and speaking with them and them kind of just encouraging you, yeah, just go for it. Who cares? Whatever. And that's kind of how we've been approaching this. But that sort of encouragement is a fun thing to hear. And it was my brain was just going the whole 2.5 hours way home. Okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Well, it's going to be fun. And it's cool. I had this huge confidence from it.
The funny part of that is that's why on the way back, once I got in my car, I called you because my brain was churning, and I'm like, okay, what I need to say it and get it out and have someone else hear me say this stuff so that we can at least it's on the mind and we can come back to it later. But it was cool just because some of the bigger people there too were very encouraging and very
absolutely
supportive of what we have been doing. So it was cool to get that they notice who we are. Even we just kind of started this back up, and it was cool to see that they noticed us. So that was encouraging.
It is funny when you kind of realize the different place that different people are at in their journey on this stuff. Because, we're talking to the one guy who's working on some of the betting stuff in Ohio, and he's like, yeah, we're working on our second round of VC funding. I'm like, I record in my basement. So yeah, we're right there together.
We're close, buddy. We're close.
Yeah.
He was fun too. He wants to come on. He's a good guy.
And they're doing a sweet thing. It's going to hit. I have honestly high confidence in that.
We will have him on at some point. We don't want to give away his secrets or what he's got cooking up, but
for sure,
we'll get him on and he can explain it. And I hope all of you guys get your leagues into what he's got going on because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, great experience at Scott Fish Bowl overall. Another cool thing we have going on, and we'll get some rosters up here in a few minutes so everybody can kind of take a look at what's been brewing. We've got our new league of record that we put together that we're currently doing a slow draft for. So it's super flex, tight end premium with an additional flex outside of the super flex. So you got QBs going early, and it's Dynasty, and so a lot of similarities to Scott Fish Bowl scoring actually, but in a Dynasty format.
Yeah, I want to
And
bring
really,
it up
really cool
actually.
thing. Yep.
So let's bring up Cody. We can kind of go over your team really quick.
Yeah. I'm bench warmer.
Yeah, let's get you in here. I'm gonna zoom in really quick.
So this draft is going on. You got 2 hours per pick, and
Yeah,
it's going to take a handful of days to draft. So we are day 3 of this draft, sitting in round 12, I think it is.
Yes.
So I'll do a quick rundown on my team. So I picked at the 10th spot. I did take Justin Jefferson. QBs went pretty hot, even including Russell Wilson, Dak, and a couple of guys, and Kyler, a couple of guys I thought might hang around. But the QBs are really kind of cleaned out, at least the ones I was really feeling there. So went Justin Jefferson, came back around in the second round for Deshaun Watson. Ton of uncertainty, but with it being a dynasty league, this is a league where I can have a little bit of patience. And then I took a couple more receivers in Deebo Samuel and DK Metcalf. So I'm feeling super good about that trifecta of receivers. I'll flex one of them, all 26 years of age and younger. Even the 26-year-old in Deebo Samuel has, low wear on the body. So I went receiver heavy big time. What do you think of that part?
No, that's the top 4 that you got there it's a great combo. You might have a little trouble getting through, obviously, the first 6 games or first half of the year, however long he's suspended. We don't know. I'm assuming you're going to come back and take Jacoby Brissett at some point. I don't want to give away your secrets, but
yeah, I'm assuming nobody else is going to target him, so I'm kind of planning at the end. Yeah,
unless someone snakes him to try to trade bait with you,
they can keep
that can happen. Which
it can.
I'm going to say, I would be lying if it didn't cross my mind. But
I ain't playing that nonsense.
I won't do that to you because I like you.
Oh, I would stick the person for fun, 100%. I would take the L just to stick them.
Yeah, even if you get them, it'll help you in the first half of the year, but you can't expect too many points from them. No. But yeah, your receivers, man, you're loaded for the next 4 or 5 years. You don't have to touch it. You can just go straight quarterbacks, even in the next draft, which we think is going to be a heavy quarterback draft. And then you can focus on your running backs as well, which I still like what you got quality wise with where you got them.
Yeah, they're fine for now. I feel okay with starting them now. None of them have that great a longevity. Damian Harris, New England never sticks to running back for that long, so he's going to be on his way out of New England at some point. James Conner's 27. He did get a 3-year contract, but he's 27. And Josh Jacobs didn't get his 5th year picked up and hasn't gotten a contract from the Raiders. And so my running backs, those guys all slipped big time because of those blemishes. And I pretty much just went into them saying, well, they're good for now, and I'll deal with running back later. So that's the position that I'm just going to chase in drafts later.
Get me through this year.
Yeah,
we'll see where we're at,
and then we'll see. Yep,
100%. Get me through this year. I want to see where I'm at next year. We can focus on that because you got. How old is Jacobs? Cody,
Jacobs is young. He's 24,
young,
I think,
right?
But he's probably on his way out of Oakland. So you just don't.
Which is
know.
fine. Which is
you
fine.
Just don't. Yeah.
He'll go somewhere. He'll get the opportunity. I mean, look at Connor. Look at Lenny Fournette. I mean, these people still get the opportunity after the fact. I mean, with him being that young, with that much experience, he knows what he's doing. Somebody will focus. I think someone's going to focus in on him. I'm more high on him next year than I am this year because I think he's going to be brought into a situation where they're like, okay, this is my guy. I know what he can do, and I'm going to put him in my offense. That's what it does.
Right.
So I am like for Dynasty, I like him. I'm all about that. That's a great pick. And Dame Harris is young too, so it's not like
he's 25.
It's not like they're too old. You got a couple years, I think, out of these.
And Damian Harris has been highly productive. So even if New England does go another route, I mean, I think somebody's going to pick him up. I don't know what that role looks like, but somebody's picking him up.
I agree.
And then just so far now through round 11, I also picked up Carson Wentz as a second QB to start because it's super flex. Michael Gallup, because I think his later season. Here's my theory with Michael Gallup. Obviously, we don't think he's there for the start of the year, but I feel really good about my 3 receivers. And so he's kind of my bye week fill-in that I'm planning for when buys hit later in the season. That's kind of what I'm dreaming up. You never know how it's going to play out, but that was my theory. And then
that's
for anyone that listens to the podcast, you'll know that Darrell Henderson was going to be on my team. So you'll see him there in the 11th.
Which we did get him in the Scott Fish. That was a Cody pick. I had a couple picks myself.
Yeah.
But that was Cody's baby, so we had to come home with it.
Rob, tell me about your team. Oh,
yeah,
let me hit one thing. the one thing you won't see there is Pat Fryermuth. I actually traded that pick to someone, so he's not part of my team. So I have a pick elsewhere on the board that's Cole Kmet. So I'll be playing Cole Kmet at tight end.
And what I will say about this league was, so this is a startup Superflex. We kind of went through the Superflex tight end premium. And this is a bunch of guys that I'm not super familiar with. It's a lot of guys on Mario's side that he knows. Cody's got a couple guys in here. What I will say, just through the startup, you always want to be, especially in a dynasty league, you always want to be in a league that is they want to make moves. They want to be active. They want to talk. It makes it so much more enjoyable. I mean, I haven't made a trade yet, but I've been in about 5 conversations with people trying to make that work. And me and Cody, we were super close. Me and Mario, we had people. I had people I was making trade talks with people I don't even personally know. But if you're in groups like that are all about the same thing, they just want to have fun. They want to wheel and deal. It makes it so much more enjoyable, man. I mean, there must have been 10 trades already, and it's a startup. We're just trading draft picks.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Robbie, run us through your team here. We got Mario's got him up on the screen here.
Oh, you did get my team up.
I stole it.
You did.
Sorry, everyone. Okay. I think I was not plugged in and my computer died. I'm pretty positive that is what happened there.
Okay.
No worries. It happens.
Yeah. If anyone is listening, Mario kind of just said, "Nah, see you guys later." Hung up and left me and Cody to take over. But it was all right. We handled it.
We
listening
Honestly,
or watching.
You can kick it, Mario. See you later.
Listening or watching, if you guys notice, I am struggling with my allergies. So if I'm doing something weird on camera, my eyes are watering, holding my head up so my nose isn't leaking, please don't judge me. Yeah, who knows? It might.
This could get weird, but it's all right. He's doing it for the people, for you people.
For the people.
Yep.
He's ready. He's here. But let's go through my team real quick here, Mario. And I want to get your honest opinion because I went a couple different routes here that I was a little nervous about, but I'm excited for this team. So I punted on the quarterback in the first 2 rounds. I was hoping Deshaun Watson was going to fall back to me in the 3rd, but Cody, in Cody fashion, snaked him from me. So that's okay. So I went with my first pick, and this is a 14-teamer. So this is the last pick in the first round, but it does come back to you in the 3rd. So it's a 3rd round reversal. So first round pick.
Mention that, Rob.
Yeah, 114. I went with Najee Harris. Coming into his 2nd year, we saw what he did his first year. He was running back 3, and I think Tomlin has shown that when he has a running back, he leans on them. He gives them the work. He's not afraid to use a bell cow. He won't bring in a running back too.
One of those rare coaches. You're absolutely right.
It's a rare thing, and if you can get that player, especially in a dynasty, especially only going into his 2nd season, he's got at least a solid 5 more that I'm just kind of, he's my RB1 for the next 5 years. I'm happy about it. I don't need to worry about that spot. And he's a PPR monster. So with the setup of this league as well, super happy that he fell to me there at 114. I'm surprised Mario didn't take him, to be honest with you. My 2-1 pick was CeeDee Lamb. Again, I think he's 23, 24. Still,
I love CD. Yep. I think
very young, coming into a pass-heavy offense. He's going to have Dak just peppering him with targets like no other. I think he's the clear-cut number 1 now that Amari's gone. He's going to get maybe 150 targets, and I think that's going to be a trend for the next 5 years. He's the man there, and receivers hold on their value, so I'm super high there with him, and that's why I went running back, receiver, because the top flight QBs that I was targeting, they weren't there. So I didn't force anything, and I just wanted to get a couple guys that I'm very confident for the next 5-6 years. Then we go Trevor Lawrence, 3-1 on the comeback. His talent's too good. I think he's going to come back and with a mission, and I think with a good coach, I think he'll be back to form, and we'll see where he goes with that. And then I got my sweet darling at 414 in Kirky Cousins.
It's a great super flex.
Yeah, everyone knows my love for Kirk Cousins, and I think he's got that new offensive system, and I think he's going to be a stud for at least a few years. He's 33, so for QB years, still super young. He's not a mobile quarterback, which in this case helps me with the age, so I'm fine with that. Then we go David Montgomery. I'm high on him. And then my two sweet darlings, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Tony Pollard. So I definitely went heavy with my guys. I reached a little bit for these people. But in a dynasty, I wanted my guys that I'm high on. So
Yeah.
being in that last spot, being in a position that I know, especially a 14-teamer, it's going to go down, it's going to come back. That's 28 picks. If I knew they weren't going to come back to me, I didn't care about reaching for them. What do you think about that strategy there, Cody?
I like the strategy. I like the strategy. I think you have I won't say a crazy high risk, but I think you definitely took the shots on your guys, which can inherently be high risk. So, and I don't even know if Trevor Lawrence is your guy, but Trevor Lawrence is QB1. It's like, okay, he's a high draft pick, all the draft capital, but we don't know what he is yet, especially for fantasy. And then Amon-Ra, had a nice fantasy year last year. We don't know what the ceiling is. Same for Tony Pollard. So I really like the team. I love Najee. I love CeeDee Lamb. I think where you got David Montgomery in the 5th round is great value. I think you're in great shape. I think you're going to be a competitive team. And I love that you went for your guys. You committed to what you believe in. 100%.
So with that, I like what you said there. Yeah, it's definitely high risk, high reward. I got my guys, especially Amon-Ra, Tony Pollard, and Lawrence. Those 3 people, especially, I noticed it. So that is why I don't want to say.
And Alan Lazard on your bench, even.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't think Kirk's a reach, but I wanted that safe floor, especially for my QB2,
that price
just in case it doesn't pan out. And then I went and I had Dave Montgomery. I think that's a safe floor. So that's why I took the swing at Tony Pollard. And then on my bench, I took Adam Thielen. He's older. I could have gotten a younger receiver, but I wanted that safe floor for the next 2 years. I know what I'm going to get. And I know he's going to be.
You're going to get.
Yeah, I know he's going to be this for wide receiver 2-3, right? But just in case Amon-Ra doesn't do what he does, just in case Alan Lazard isn't what I think he's going to be, I have a safe play.
Get your insurance.
Just so I don't kill myself. And there's a few more rounds where I think I can get a couple more vets that, they fall in the dynasty, but they're going to get me through. And just in case this doesn't help, like my plan doesn't work out, I'll have some insurance just in case.
Yeah. I just want to go. I'll go through my team real quick. I went Jalen Hurts, Javonte Williams, Ken Walker. Do you want to go in order? I went Javonte Walker, then I went Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. 3rd round, come back to T. Higgins. Sold my 3rd round reversal for a first in the 2023 draft. Kind of sucked, but an asset for the future. Come back 4th, I take my boy Dalton Schultz. In the 5th, I go Ken Walker. And 6th, I go Jerry Jeudy. 7th, I took Rashad Bateman. 8th, Hunter Renfrow. 9th, Daniel Jones. Probably my scariest pick. 10th, Trey McBride. Nice young tight end.
Yep.
And then I finished off with Alexander Madison. Obviously, we have more rounds to go. I just took out Alex Pierce while I was disconnected and getting everything back up and running. I figured I'd get a pick in. So I took Alec Pierce, sorry. And happy about that, actually getting them this late.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I like that late.
I do too. Mario, same thing as Rob for you. You really kind of went for your guys. Mario and I are 10 and 11. Or are we 10 and 12? 10 and 12.
12.
Yeah, 10 and 12. So we've been drafting around each other a lot.
You're 11. Kind of fun. 11 and 12.
11 and 12. Okay, 11 and 12.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I did. I went for my guys, but I also kept it onto I kept it very, very young. I wanted to be young. Did you guys go over the Scott Fishbowl team?
No, we did not have that. So we went to our teams.
Our monster team.
Mario, run us through it here.
I actually am going to pawn this off on one of you guys. I don't think many people want to hear me too much tonight.
Okay, I'll take it. So, and I won't be able to see. I don't know if it shows draft picks, so I might have to kind of ignore that because I'm going to go from memory a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. So, obviously, again, a super flex, a QB heavy, tight end premium league, not a dynasty, so we're not worried about age here. Our plan was to go Travis Kelce. We were the 10 spot. Our plan was to go Travis Kelce round 1 and then come back with 2 quarterbacks. And when Travis Kelce went the pick before us in round 1, it really kind of threw us for a loop. And it's like, okay, where do we pivot? What do we do here? And so kind of like I had to in our dynasty startup we just showed, we took Justin Jefferson, which felt like a great pick there. Came back with Matthew Stafford. and then ended up with Tua as a second quarterback. So even though we didn't necessarily get to go tight end, quarterback, we felt pretty good about that start. Feeling good about Tua this year with the weapons, and obviously Stafford's going to be just fine. There's a bonus for completion percentage in this league. And then, we missed out on Kelsey, so we're like, wow, what are we going to do at tight end? And it came back around in the 4th round, and we're like, oh, George Kittle's still here. I mean, a tight end premium. Why don't we go crazy? And so we took George Kittle and Dalton Schultz, and we're going to flex Schultz because of that tight end premium. So didn't get our top guy, but we ended up with probably tight end 3 or 4, depending who's saying it, and tight end 5 or 6. So a pair of nice tight ends. Then we rounded out our wide receiver room with Hollywood Brown, Treylon Burks, and on our bench, we have in the wide receiver room, Laviska Shenault, Donovan People-Jones, Chase Claypool, Alec Pierce, Chris Olave. Sorry if I missed anyone there. And then in the running back room, we've got Josh Jacobs and Tony Pollard. So as you can see, running back is the position that we kind of faded a little bit. Yeah. But players we feel good about for this year. And then we did take some
value picks.
Yeah, like Devin Singletary is really going pretty low for being a starting running back. Trey Sermon has a chance at that job, even if it's a long shot. I, of course, made him take Darrell Henderson. No shock there. How are you guys feeling about this team?
I have my ups and downs moments. Yeah. Like, we're going to need to hit on certain guys big time for us to pan out. Like,
I like it less. I specifically Saturday.
You like it less?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things that we're going to need big time to happen here. And Justin Jefferson is going to have to finish as wide receiver 1. That's first and foremost. I don't even give it leeway of wide receiver 2 or 3. We took him at wide receiver 1. We're going to need him to take that because wide receiver is probably the easiest to fade in Scott Fishbowl that we determined. And we ended up going with 1 first overall. And maybe running back could be an argument for that as well. Jacobs is going to have a mediocre year. We got him pretty late, so it's no harm, no foul. We got Tony Pollard pretty late, so he needs to be a little bit better than last year. Guys that also need to land for us, Hollywood and Treylon Burks will be huge. Our tight ends need to be where we got them picked, meaning we spent the money on them. We just need them to come through reception-wise. Yeah. That will elevate us big time if they're top 5. I think our quarterbacks are the least worrisome. Like, I mean, we could have done better. We couldn't really do that much better. Like, we would have had to either reach on a QB in round 1, which we kind of did with Justin Jefferson, or we come back and play the odds and we rolled the dice and we ended up with Tua, which would probably be, if I had to guess, the last of a tier for us. I think it was.
Sure.
Especially in this format with the bonus for completion percentage. That definitely brings them into that tier, I'd say.
Yeah, because past him, I think it goes Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think we would have took Trevor Lawrence in the 3rd.
Oh, I agree.
No, not in this setup. Not in this format.
Not with it not being a dynasty, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, not in this format.
So, overall, we're definitely going to need some things to happen, right? Like, our bench has some upside, but I guess we went rookie heavy on the bench, which I don't think I saw until just this moment. I knew we were taking these guys. I just didn't realize how many we had.
That's what scares me looking at it is there's not much on the bench that I today could say, okay, I could deal with starting that for a week.
And we got free agents there.
We do. Yeah. We do.
Yeah, we'll be heavy on the waiver wire. But I don't hate the team. I'm still
hate it either.
I'm still into it, and I like the. Like you said, I think our quarterbacks will be fine. I'm not worried about that. And if our tight ends finish in the top 5, both of them, which I think is a probability as opposed to uncertainty. And if Justin Jefferson finishes wide receiver 1, which again, I have him as my wide receiver 1. Mario, I think you do as well. Cody, I'm not 1,000% positive, but
Cooper Kupp's my 1, but Justin Jefferson's going to be a stud. And as we'll hear in the news, there's great hype for Jefferson. So I'm game.
Yeah. So with all that, I'm all in. And I as long as a couple people can come through, I think those guys can carry us.
Yeah. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Let's hit some
We'll
news,
be working
Mario.
we'll be working on that waiver. Let's hit it. So Cody just took him in our dynasty. He called me.
Let Rob read this. I want Rob to read this one, please.
Okay.
Come on, man.
I'm
going to lean back. Go ahead.
Cody called me. So there's a guy that I was like super excited about us getting in Scott Fishbowl. We didn't end up getting him. We also ended up switching routes and going 2 tight ends before the 6th round. So that also, it didn't hurt me as much. This was one of our targets. Rob, if you want to read off that first headline, please.
Cole Kmet anticipates a large role in passing game under new offensive coordinator Luke Getsy.
A large role, eh? A big one.
That's right.
A big role.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Probably something like
Ooh.
150 targets.
At least.
Maybe
That's what a large
maybe
role
something
is
like
to me.
98
Mario knows how much I wanted
receptions.
him.
I did
It's a
tell.
funny story,
I warned
actually.
Rob. I said if you don't take him here, although
He did.
because I saw. So it was great, and I know we're gonna end up screwing this up and going over time, but it was a good story because Rob's at the turn, right? He's 14, so he has 2 picks every time. He comes to the turn, and there's guys like Tony Pollard out there. There's guys like Cortland Sutton. There's Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's Jerry Jeudy.
Guys.
There was Cole Kmet. So a lot of people that I knew was on Rob's. It was on
Radar.
Rob's radar,
Mhm.
and he went and took Tony Pollard. I knew that one for a fact. The one that I guess maybe shocked me was Amon-Ra St. Brown, knowing damn well that Cole Kmet was not coming back.
Mhm.
Yeah, I punted. But what I will say is I believe 2 picks after Cody, I had a trade lined up to take that pick and go get Cole Kmet. So it was ready to roll. I had it in my pocket. And
there's more to that story, that part of that trade right there, Rob. There's more to that than I think you even know. So I was sitting there. You were about to trade into the spot 2 spots after me, and I didn't know that. And I was actually sitting there contemplating trading the pick where I took him, thinking, hey, I can come back the next round and he's still going to be there. So I actually almost moved out of the spot where I took him, being fully confident he was going to be there when I came back. And he wouldn't have, because you would have jumped in front of me then.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it would have
again,
been wild.
This is what I'm saying with a trade happy league. It's fun, man, because I'm mad. Yeah, I'm pissed off. I missed out on my guy, but these are the stories you can go and talk about, over a beer the next day, because no one knows about it. And the same thing happened with Dalton Schultz, where I had a trade lined up with Cody.
11th hour. I mean, this trade was, I think there might even be a chance we both said yes. And then Rob was like,
no,
I don't
we
think
did.
so. And I didn't call. I'm like, all right. I mean, I'll let you back out. But it was deep done. And then,
it was deep done.
Trades aren't done until it's accepted. That's 100%. That's me. And then and then if you or Cody were nice enough to be like, you know what, it's fine. Like accepted, I mean through the app.
Yeah.
I oftentimes my verbiage is not great when I'm sending out messages. I'll be like, I'll do this. And then I'll pretty much text within the next 3 minutes, like, wait, let me think about this. After they're already like, yeah.
It was fine. It was not, it was fine. But it was deep. Like he was pulling the trigger for Dalton Schultz. I mean, it was like that close.
You want to hear how I sent House a trade one time, and before he accepted it, because it was a bad trade on my part, before he accepted it, he said, "Are you sure about this?" And I went and looked, and I think his question opened my eyes, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm out."
Yeah.
Wow.
That's nice.
So that is a true friend. That was like a big move. Yeah.
Rob, I got one more thing to add to this.
Cody, why don't you tell him why I decided to back out?
Yeah, he actually backed out because poor Rob, really, the more I think this through.
I'm missing my
God, I wouldn't have freaked out.
He was trading into a spot for Dalton Schultz. And Rob's like, you know what? I'm going to back out. I don't think I can do this to Mario. He's actually going to be upset. Like he said to me, like, no, he's going to be mad at me. I'm like, Rob, he's not going to be mad. It's going to be hilarious when we talk about it live. Like, just do it. He's like, no, he's like really going to be mad at me.
No, I wouldn't have been really. Would I have been bitching? Yes, I would have been probably on rants. I would have probably started this episode sneezing, runny nose, probably like a full on rant of the dirtiest of all dirty moves.
Yep.
But it's all fair in fantasy football, especially when we're doing this together. Like that's the worst part about doing this and doing leagues with you guys. Like not only do our players morph on who we like and who we don't like.
Yeah. It's fair.
But we start hearing who other person like, and start convincing them. Like I'm not saying that I convinced you on Dalton Schultz at all, but like, man,
you convinced me on talking about
Schultz, and then there's guys that you guys convince me on. All like I take Henderson late in a lot of my best balls. Yeah. I take Tony Pollard in a lot of things. All right, let's keep it moving on this news.
Let me throw one more thing out. I got real quick. I'm sorry, Mario. I got one good thing. Rob, you and I haven't spent actually that much time together in person. We've obviously talked countless hours. Yeah. But if you ever get to meet my wife, she would let you know everything that Cody Austin owns is for sale. So
okay.
I'll let your boy.
That's good to know.
Yeah. The price is not always good.
See if I can get Kmet.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
The price
right, go
would
ahead,
not
Mario,
be good.
sorry.
The price would not be right, Robbie.
Well, I was trying to trade.
There's
trade
no Bob
Deshaun
Barker in
Watson.
this room. I can promise you that.
Look, I have traded Cody a lot, and sometimes I feel like there's been a couple times where it's been three-way trades. And I think because of the excitement about doing a 3-man trade that I have taken my beat down from Cody. And he never returns the favor. Like
I'll fully own
the little
it.
gimme trades.
I'm definitely, I would say I'm notorious. Like, I would say, Mario, you're notorious for doing a trade that looks bad on paper, per se, because you really believe in the guy. And that's not to say it's a bad trade because you believe in the guy. But you're willing to make a trade that 10 other people might say, ooh, why would Mario do that? And I think that's actually the right move. I'm like the opposite. I'm like too afraid to make a mistake. I'm like, hey, this deal's got to be like good for me on paper if I'm going to pull the trigger, which is not necessarily a good thing.
I like taking I'll take a losing trade on paper, and I think it looks good in front of your league mates sometimes.
Yeah, I've done that.
That's
I've
also
done that
why
a few times.
JJ said Vikings offense is not a run first anymore. I think we all know what this means. JJ wide receiver 1 season coming.
Kirk Cousins,
and see you later.
QB 8, 9, 10.
I really wanted Kirk in this league too, and I missed that.
Kirk.
Tanyan availability at start of the season is, I meant to say, not certain.
Correct.
Okay.
Not certain. I've been paying very close attention to him because I do have him in the Dynasty. I don't think it'll be as long as people think. I think he'll be fine by week 1, week 2.
Edmonds remains a favorite to handle the majority of touches.
I'm starting to believe this one.
Yep. I
I'm
brought this
starting to
up
believe
to
this
you,
one.
right, Cody?
Maybe. I know we talked about it with a guest probably a month ago or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and
I
he was
think
all
this
in.
is. I think this is a true statement.
Yeah. Yep. I'm starting to buy it. Mario, I'm on the clock. Do you want to take a quick detour? Like a 30-second detour while I figure this out?
Do it to it.
Okay, so I'm on the clock. Like we said, I'm pick 11. We're here in round 12. And before anybody makes fun of the names I'm going to say or who I'm going to pick, it gets fairly gross when you get this deep. So we're looking at the likes of Robert Woods, Kenny Galladay, Mecole Hardman. Tight end, Hunter Henry, Jelani Woods, Tyler Higbee, Evan Ingram. Quarterback, I'm not really willing to play or ready to play in. Running backs, Khalil Herbert, Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, it's rough. For time's sake here, I'm going to just pull the trigger, and I think I'm going to go with Donovan Peoples-Jones. I've actually got a little love there long-term for DPJ.
I think that's a good stack with Deshaun, too. I don't know if it's this year.
I don't think it's this year either.
Which you're going to need to see something between the two, because if you don't, then there's concerns, is DPJ going to end up staying there?
Yeah, he is a guy that could be short-lived. That's for sure. There's no guarantee for DPJ at this point.
No,
he's not
6th round, right?
on this team.
Yeah, 6th rounder.
He's not a stalwart on this team.
I did have a surprise for you guys, and by surprise, I mean a surprise kind of question here. Before we get into, we're probably going to do 2 to 4.
A couple each.
Mid-round,
Yeah.
mid-round guys. Yeah.
Mhm.
Before we get into that, let me ask you, and I think this is kind of fun. So in a league that we do, there is, for PR sakes, the trade winning trophy, or the person that actually the trophy goes to the person that has got screwed over the worst from a trade. Okay, so I'm going to go over all of the trades that happened, and you tell me which one was the absolute worst.
Okay, this is for last season.
This is for last season, and I don't have what week it was. Just know that it made this list somehow, because it probably didn't look good at the time of.
Okay, so this is not just hey, it played out bad. It was ugly when it happened.
It was ugly when it happened.
Okay.
And usually it gets nominated at the moment it happens, and then we vote on the end.
Yeah, this is. I love this. Didn't know this was coming.
So Deebo Samuel, Jamal Williams, Devontae Booker for Tyler Boyd, Cortland Sutton, Kareem Hunt. So Deebo clearly crushed
Best
that
player
trade.
by a mile. Yep.
Yeah.
And Jamal Williams, I think at the time, was doing all right. So
yeah.
And Devontae Booker was without Barkley for a long time.
Yeah.
And there was Sutton hype. So Sutton probably had, depending when it was. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it does throw it a little off, but I think some of these will be a little bit easier.
Oh, no, it's bad. I didn't mean it was great.
Yeah, it's bad.
CMC, Will Fuller, Rondale Moore for Cordarrelle Patterson, Jacoby Myers, and OBJ.
Well,
See,
this
that's one of
depends
those
when it
ones
was
like I
because
have
of
no
CMC.
clue.
It
Yeah.
played out. I'm guessing CMC was healthy, or people thought he was coming back.
That's what it was.
And so
probably,
that makes it like it could have been okay at the moment. You know, it probably looked worse
Yeah.
at the moment than it does in retrospect. That's probably one of those.
Oh, yeah, because like you're stealing Christian McCaffrey if you're expecting him to come back.
And that's
Yeah.
probably what it was.
Cordarrelle, Jacoby, and OBJ. Probably
Yeah.
on the Browns still.
Yeah.
Here was one. OBJ for Lamar Jackson.
straight up.
Wowzers. That could be
Uh-huh.
our winner. I know it's plain, but that could be our winner.
Yeah.
It's also kind of weird because Lamar.
Yeah, but
ended up
Lamar
missing
was
half
hurt
the-
last
half-
year.
at the end of the season. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was obviously before then.
Okay.
Mike Gesicki for Alexander Madison. Pretty wild by itself. Standalone doesn't meet a time frame really.
Yeah, but they probably had Cooks. Would be
Cook,
my
yeah.
guess. Right.
I would assume
Pay a
so,
little
too.
bit more for that insurance.
I think this one was my least favorite. I think Nick Chubb, DJ Chark for Jamal Williams, Calvin Ridley, Elijah Mitchell, and Trey Sermon.
Oh, that's probably my winner.
Yeah. That
You
one's
got
rough.
the poo-poo platter for Nick Chubb.
Yeah, because Calvin Ridley didn't even end up playing. Elijah Mitchell
No.
panned out for whoever that was.
Panned out,
Yeah.
but not Nick Chubb panned out.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, what was he? RB 20 something?
Probably, and he only played like 11 games. So, I mean, you were missing him pretty significantly.
This one is this one I was involved in. Brandon Cooks for Zach Moss and Christian Kirk.
That's fairly
Which side do you
gross,
like?
too. Oh, Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, you got to go
Felt
beat
good about
Cooks.
that.
Yeah. But Brandon Cooks
felt
is so
great about that one.
unsexy that you can always buy him cheap. So that's a great trade on your part.
Yeah.
I think we actually did this one too. Before with the same team. Zach Moss for AP. So we traded away Zach, or we got
Why didn't you guys just both agree to drop your players?
Zach Moss. This was at a time we got Zach Moss, and then we ended up trading Zach Moss right back to him.
That's funny.
Which one should I go with here?
Well, wait, so hold up. So that combination of trades, though, you ended up with Cooks and AP for just Christian Kirk. That combination makes it worse, right? Am I thinking of that right?
Yeah, I think so. This is
That's-
confusing. I wish I had the weeks. Next time I'll have the weeks prepared for this. It'll be.
I'm
next
going
year.
Nick Chubb just because I know there's
Yeah.
some pieces there, but I hate that platter of players for a
That
bona
Lamar
fide
one's
star.
rough too, though.
I think the injury
It
makes
ended
it
up
too
being
much of a
fine
question
for
mark.
them, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Chubb's
I
my
vote that
vote.
one.
I don't think you
I
can
voted
trade
that
Chubb
one,
for
Rob.
that.
Next time we do this, I will make sure to have the week so it makes
like
a
it.
little
That's
bit
fine.
more sense.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into some mid-round steals. Guys that we've kind of picked out that we think are super valuable at where they're going ADP wise. And I know we've kind of got into some of these. I actually have a list of guys where I'm like, okay, I've talked about them plenty of times. I'm not going to go over those. ETN, Dalton Schultz, Michael Pittman, all go in these rounds 4 through 8, which is what we're targeting here, mid rounds. I've talked about all of those. I'm not going to go over that with all of you again. Cody, you want me to start off with one of mine first, or do you want to kick off?
No, let's hear it, man. What do you got?
Well, one of my first, and I think I have talked about this guy a little bit, and maybe I did, but maybe not as in detailed as I wanted to be. And I don't even think I get super detailed now, is Breece Hall. And now he's on the very tail end of this. So by the time we're drafting in August, I actually expect him to be off of this list technically because he will not be considered
Ahead of this list, really, right?
meaning not I'm not a mid rounder anymore. I'm an early round because I think he is overall 48 right now, which is the end of 4th. I expect him to crack the 3rd, truthfully. I really do.
so do I.
So he's going 48 overall. And I just want to talk about Breece one more time if I didn't do it enough justice the first time. This dude dominated in college from the start. Yes, he was in the Big 12 network. He was an 18-year-old true freshman, 1,149 scrimmage yards, 10 TDs, right? That's his freshman year.
That's massive as an 18-year-old.
As an 18-year-old, that's massive. Yeah. He follows up in his sophomore and junior year with about 100 rushing yards each season, racking in 23 TDs each season. This dude put up 56 touchdowns in overall touchdowns, because that's receiving as well.
Right.
56 touchdowns in 3 years of football. He was a monster at the goal line. He put up yards. He's an early declare. The NFL said, okay, we're okay with this. An early declare into the NFL, and we're still kind of fading this. The Jets traded up to him in the second round. If it's Michael Carter concerns, let me tell you one more time, don't let that be the reason. There could be other reasons. Don't let it be Michael Carter. You're muted, Rob.
I like that statement. No, I like that statement because I've definitely said my knock is the team, but you make a fair argument that the team's getting better. I think that's a big piece of this case. And Zach Wilson's got mojo now. For anybody that hasn't heard, go Google Zach Wilson's name. It's going to be worth your time, I promise. Don't be a homie hopper, just saying. But I mean, the team is theoretically on the rise. It's hard to believe, but that does help the case.
And it's almost like one of those situations where I think we're taking a bet on Brees being good no matter the situation. There's a ton of weapons to not draw it in. Like, we got to imagine Tennessee is going to get game planned against Derrick Henry all day. So we're already now Derrick Henry's a monster. Brees isn't even close to that size or quite that gameplay, but he's going to have open lanes here. We have three solid wide receivers on this team on the outside. I guess that the problem becomes if Brees starts off really well this year, they're going to be like to Zach Wilson, we bet you, we dare you, throw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where it could get tough for Brees.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, I don't always probably love the player that Brees is as much. And maybe that's part of it. So he's a burner. He ran I think he was a sub 4.40. He's a burner. Doesn't have the shifty or elusive. He's I'm going to outrun you. And that's not always my favorite running back personally, but it's hard to argue with that production, Mario. I mean, I can't even argue with it. Like, I mean, his sophomore and junior year, 3,000 total yards and 50 touchdowns almost. It's stupid.
It's insane. It really is. And I do think he is I think he got faded a little bit in the draft. Now, second round is still, and it was early second. It was like the 10th, 11th. I'm pretty sure.
Where did he go? San Diego State?
No, Iowa State. I'm pretty positive.
Oh, okay. Your boy's up, by the way.
Me or you?
Me.
It just seems like he was faded. And I think he's somebody, especially right now, like this price will get too expensive. The moment it comes out of, I'll have questions early fourth. But once it's out of fourth, if it does happen as out of fourth, I am out.
Yeah.
I would be out then.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just
you
is
like
too
where it's at
rich.
right now. Yeah.
I like where it's at. I'd probably take it at mid. Because there's a dead zone for me. And now we've had this conversation, Cody. It would be somebody like David Montgomery or Zeke.
Yes.
David Montgomery would be the only one there'd be Cam Akers would be there. David Montgomery would be the one that is.
It's an area neither of us like very much. Yep. No, I think it is a right place right now. I think that's a fair statement.
It seems valuable to snag him at his price, but Cody, you had one for us too.
Yeah. You know, it wasn't really intentional, but I went pretty late with mine and it ended up being kind of fun. I sort of just hung out at the bottom of the list once I did my first one because it was kind of fun. I was like, oh, who are these like almost late snags? But we talked about this one for just a brief second earlier. I'm getting more and more on the Chase Edmonds train. He's going 93rd overall, RB 35. And as was mentioned in the news, all reports so far is that he is going to be the lead back. There's like 6 running backs. It's a busy backfield, but he'll be the lead back. And I'll tell you why this gets me excited. Because it's not that I don't think Chase Edmonds is good, but the Cardinals never trusted him to be the lead back. So if the Dolphins are bringing in this running back with 5 other guys and saying, wow, he's leading, he looks like the guy, that says a ton to me compared to what the Arizona Cardinals said about him for the last 4 years or whatever it was. He just turned 26. He's a career 4.7 yards per carry. He's had over 40 catches the past 2 years. The efficiency has been stellar. He's just never gotten the work. I mean, he's hovered around 100 carries, maybe, a little more than that, but he's never been 150, 175, 200 touch guy. Never gotten 60, 70 catches. He's been that 40s number the last couple of years. and he's got 9 career rush TDs. He's never shown it in the red zone, but he's been efficient enough that if they actually say, hey, we're going to give this guy a shot, there's top 24 RB potential here. And at 93rd overall, I think somebody should be trying that out.
Yeah. Especially with all these reports coming out that he's the RB1. Getting an RB1 that late is, you can't do that.
Yeah. Just being the scat back type of player he is.
Yeah.
I just assumed, hey, that's his role in Miami now. It's what he's always done, but it doesn't sound like it.
And who's there? Sony Michel and Raheem Mostert, just
Gaskin,
injury prone people. That's all I see on that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, they're definitely different players. They're such a hodgepodge of players. Like Raheem would be a little more in some ways, like not necessarily size or anything, but he would be a high efficiency guy, but tons of injury concern. Sony's a plotter. Miles Gaskin almost does nothing good and nothing terrible. Like it's just a weird group.
Yeah, it really is. And I'd be concerned of Raheem Mostert because I think he's awesome. I really do think the player's
I'm
great.
concerned about him for week 1.
But he's just, if you're taking Edmonds, I'd wait. For sure. Wait.
I'm just joking, but
no,
I shouldn't
agree,
joke about a guy's injuries,
I really
but,
do
I mean,
agree. I'd wait it out a couple weeks, but
jokes aside, Raheem Mostert is not a threat in this backfield.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm getting is like, at the end of the day, I'm not worried about him, but I like him as a player. I think healthy is probably the best back, but it just doesn't happen.
It's over. It's past that.
It sucks because he could have been so good, but
they've signed so many guys that the signees get the hype between Mostert and Sony. I think the threat is Gaskin if there is one.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's weird that I agree with you on that, dude.
Yeah.
I think Gaskin is the sneaky threat here. And the crazy part is we might see before week 1 that he's cut. I don't think he gets traded. He'll get cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a coaching preference. Like if Miles Gaskin gets cut, and then we're looking at Sony Michel, a backfield with Sony Michel and Raheem Mostert,
Give me all that Chase Edmonds.
He cannot. There's not a chance he gets over 100 touches. I will put so much money on it. Sony Michel could kind of take on some. So he could take some rushing work.
He could get there.
I could see that,
but I'm not worried about him.
It's between the 20s. It's the rushing work we don't care about, in my opinion.
I'm with you, dude. I'm all about that. And I really do think that offense is going to be spread out the entire year. Yeah. It just feeds into Chase Edmonds. It really does.
And I'm really not ranking Chase that high. I don't have him in my top 24 or anything.
No, this is your classic, like, I faded RB2. Oops.
Oh, yeah.
This is a nice little fallback.
Yep.
I think we all kind of need to revisit him in our rankings, maybe a little bit, but
that's probably true.
I'm all about that. That's a great pick. That late, man. That's like what, round 9, round 8? You're getting him there. That's a steal.
8 would end at 96. Yeah, something like that. Yep.
That's a steal.
Robbie, you got one for us, man?
I do. I threw one together last minute, so bear with me here. But so my boy, I've been talking about him the past few weeks. Mario's not high on him, but at his ADP, I have to go with Christian Kirk this late, right? So he finished wide receiver 26 in PPR formats last year in Arizona. Okay. He's going ADP wide receiver 42. Such a slap in the face. 102nd overall in PPR. He finished last season with 103 targets, 77 receptions. So it's pretty efficient. 982 yards.
Real quick, how many targets was it again?
103.
That's it.
That's it.
And he was 26. That's actually, I actually thought he was a 125 target guy. That's nice.
That's what I'm saying. So he's efficient with the targets, right? So 100. So that's a 77% catch percentage. That's great. That's great. That's doing it with hurt Kyler Murray and a mixed match of who was the backup quarterback that came in for however many games. But I digress, right? So 77 receptions, 982 yards. 5 touchdowns. Okay. He only did it with 5 touchdowns. Wide receiver 26. Now he's going wide receiver 42. According to Fantasy Pros, he is the 6th easiest strength of schedule for all of wide receivers. I don't really take too much into that this early in before the season.
Yeah.
Anything can happen, but it does kind of make me more sure, okay, I don't have to really worry about the premier cornerbacks. It just kind of helps out a little bit just in the back of mind. And then he's going to a team that's going to throw the ball, 600 times, 600 plus times. So I'm fine with that. Sure. Well, I mean, there's ETN there, but
They made a lot of signings. But
let's not forget that they gave this guy
It's a
one
lot
of
of
the
poo-poo, but-
largest contracts for a wide receiver. So
they paid him.
they have
They
a
paid him.
plan. They
they
have.
paid
They're
him.
not going to not. They targeted him for sure. So
Yeah.
Doug Peterson loves him. He's going to use him in a certain way. He's going to get him targets, and he's going to find a way to get him the ball. So that I have no questions about that. He's going to get more targets. I think the efficiency is going to be fine. As long as Trevor Lawrence can take that step up, which I really do think he will do with a competent quarterback or a competent coach that, I mean, we all know what happened in Jacksonville last year, right? Coach didn't care. He didn't care. Bringing a rookie quarterback in with a coach that doesn't care is just, it's a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what happened last season. You get a coach in there that knows what he's doing. He's going to slow the game down for Trevor Lawrence. He's going to get easy completions, and that's going to be to Christian Kirk, in my opinion. Travis Etienne will get in there. I'm not saying that, but I think it's going to be a big target share to Christian Kirk. So I'm thinking maybe 130 targets. So I don't see any reason he can't get to 100 receptions. It's a little aggressive, but even if he gets to what he did last year, okay, which I don't have any concerns of him getting there, you're still getting him at wide receiver 42 in the 8th round, 9th round.
It is too cheap. I wouldn't say I'm in on Christian Kirk. I will say
because he's got to be the wide receiver 1, right?
How many wide receiver ones
the
are you
lowest
getting in
drafted
the
wide receiver
9th
in the league.
round? How many wide
Cody,
receiver
go ahead.
ones?
What were you saying, Cody?
I was really just going to say he's the lowest drafted wide receiver 1 in the league, probably.
Yeah.
You're probably right. Both of you are probably right.
Yeah,
And that's
I'm
not me
trying to
saying
think
I
of
like
a one
him.
on the fly.
Maybe if you want to call whoever KC's number 1 is, but
No,
Yeah.
they go before him.
do they? Okay.
Nicole
think
Harmon
so.
goes before him.
No,
I look that up.
no.
Look up his ADP.
Maybe in Dynasty
Regardless.
or something weird.
Anyway,
How
but
high
we're-
is McCole go? Does McCole Hardman need an ADP check?
I don't think so. I don't think he's going very high. I think he's still on
Sure.
the board in our dynasty.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway,
he's
what
not
I'm
on that.
saying is if he can even get to what he did last year in Arizona, which I have no concerns about that happening, that's a 20 wide receiver difference, right? 20 positions.
Yeah.
It's a steal
massive
getting him that
split.
late in the 8th, 9th round. He's still super young. He's coming into his prime. He's going to a quarterback. Granted, Lawrence had a terrible year last year. He's got elite skill. He does. I don't think there's any question about that. So he's going to a quarterback that can get him the ball. And I'm excited to see what they can do with him.
Yeah.
So I'm all
I
in
like
on that. I'm not saying he's going to be a wide receiver 10, but if he can get to wide receiver 25, where you're getting him
You
in
get good
ADP,
value. It's a good
that's a
flex.
steal.
Yeah.
I
Honestly,
think that's
he's
what you draft him for a flex.
Yeah. He's a player I faded just like everyone else clearly, but it's going too far. You found something that really is out of whack, Rob.
I think he's a good target in Dynasty sometimes too. So keep that in
100%.
mind.
I
I
was
think I
hoping to get
pretty
him.
much got him close to free in a trade probably about 2 months ago. Cody and I are going to hit one more each. I'm going to do kind of mine
quick hitter.
pretty quick here.
Yeah.
It's because we all, and I think Cody's on this.
Can I
train.
pick which one you
Pretty
do?
Sure. You can, but I was excited to do one. You can pick it. And then I
Is
can
it
save
Allen
the other one for
Robinson?
another. I was going to do Cordy.
Just go ahead.
I'll
It's
do
fine.
A-Rob.
We'll do another one.
I'll do
later. No,
A-Rob.
Cordy. It's all right.
No, because you want me to do A-Rob, so you got something to say.
No, not really. I just want to hear the argument for him because I've been out on
Okay.
him and I want to be sold. I want to be skewed. I want to be brought around. I'm open.
It's easy. It's really easy. We're A-Rob. We're going to talk Allen Robinson, who's being drafted 72 overall, which is the end of the 6. This is LA Rams wide receiver 2. There's not much to say about this. I'll give a couple stats, but there's not much to say about this when he might have a Pro Bowl sort of year on this team.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a leap,
I agree.
but we're talking about Allen Robinson going to Sean McVay's offense. The dude is a miracle worker, especially when it's in consideration talking about wide receivers. Like if you don't believe it anywhere else, because Matthew Stafford's always been pretty much what we saw last year, I believe.
I agree.
To some extent. Those numbers are very similar. Gurley was probably jumped up a little bit because of McVay. But if nothing else, he is a genius with these wide receivers. He sets up a ton. He does the most. I want to say it's a ridiculous number of 3 wide receiver sets.
Yep.
He
Number 1 in the league, I believe.
has them blocking every play. He gets them to buy in. He gets them to be gadgety. But let's look at even a little further here, right? We're just going to look at a pure numbers standpoint. Since 2018, there's been 2 wide receivers getting just destroyed with targets. And I mean, destroyed in a good way. Like they're just getting, I'm trying to go against Peppered because I think it's overused.
And we're talking 2 on the same team on the Rams, right?
On the Rams.
Salted.
I'm okay. Yep.
He's getting
Robert
salted.
Woods getting salted with targets. I like that, Rob. Robert Woods, 130 in 2018, 130 targets, Cup on pace for 110 before injury. I get it. The on pace is tough, but he played 8 games. He had 55. What do you want me to do? Brandon Cooks, however, had 117. That's 3 wide receivers that were probably going to be close to 100 to 130.
Yeah.
2019, Woods had 139, Cup 134. 2020, Woods 129, Cup 124. Little low in 2020, but that was pretty much when he decided I'm done with Jared Goff.
Mhm.
In
Fair.
2021, Cup had 191 targets. 191 targets. Robert Woods was on pace for 130 to 140 before his injury. There's going to be a second target share here, and my guess is it's 130 to 150. We have seen he likes to throw with Matthew Stafford more than he liked with Goff. Matthew Stafford's going to be throwing more to these wide receivers than he's going to be throwing to his running back, which is what Goff did.
Mhm.
This is a for sure.
100%.
This is a smash play.
Here's the only thing I see, and the last line of your notes is the only thing that causes me pause. And when I say pause, I just want to talk it through.
I know.
He had 150 plus.
We see this a lot, though.
But it's taken him 150 plus to be that guy. And he just kind of barely been that guy. Like nobody's been that excited to own Allen Robinson with the Bears. And I've been an Allen Robinson guy. So like this isn't just hate, but he hasn't been the funnest guy ever to own while he's been a member of the Bears. Stafford's a huge upgrade at quarterback. And that's a good story. Like I can get on board with that. But
Let's go away from that
targets
story.
hasn't been enough. 150 targets hasn't been enough. Why is 130 now going to be enough?
Let's not.
I
because
struggle
you
there.
have Matthew Stafford instead of Mitch Trubisky.
And maybe that is the whole case. I just
think it
wonder,
is.
the case I made before on him was, hey, he's averaged like 11 and 12 yards of reception. Like he's just not that dog anymore. But
It could also be.
This
I
is
mean,
not the only case.
he had Matt Nagy as the head coach.
that does not
Boom,
help.
number 1.
Yeah.
Number
does not
2, what did Robert Woods do before coming to LA?
Yes, 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
40 for
100%
587, 65 for 699, 47 for 552, 51 for 613. After second year in LA, 86 for 1200.
I remember when the Rams signed Robert Woods, I literally thought like, why are they going all in on Robert Woods? I literally remember having that thought and I'm like, oh, they're geniuses. I mean, look what they just got out of this guy. So
It
I'm
was
with
the
you.
weirdest, one of the weirdest careers that we've seen probably in the last 8-9 years.
He
I
doesn't
agree.
use- Yeah.
And
he could barely be the number 1 on the Bills. And then that.
What this GM does, and I think they're in lockstep, GM and Sean McVay, they find great value. And I think Sean McVay is an instrumental part of that. And he gives this is what I can
This is
do.
them
with
growing
him.
grocery shopping right here, Rob. They got their cart. They're like,
Dude,
ooh, hey, Rob.
What
Ooh,
they
Robert Woods.
bring in.
Ooh.
They also don't
Brennan
seem to
out.
have that team doesn't seem to have a salary cap, and that always helps. I think
Well,
they're the
yeah,
only
that
team in the
helps.
league without a salary cap. It
But
seems
well,
like it.
It seems like they get these, like Odell Beckham last year. They get these players that, for whatever reason, it didn't work where they were at. For whatever reason, they had the talent. They were put in a bad situation, Matt Nagy. And Sean McVay sees it. He sees it. He sees the potential in the player, and he's like, no. Bring him here. Watch what I do with this player. Good luck stopping him.
And the
And I'm
reverse of
excited.
it, and the reverse of it is they also do a good job of getting off of players.
Yeah.
Like I think they
100%.
probably timed this Robert Woods thing really nicely. I think they timed the Todd
We're gonna
Gurley
see.
thing really nicely.
Yeah.
You know,
Todd
and-
Gurley, without a question. Right.
And Robert Woods could have another good year or whatever it is. I mean, he's not done, but I
Sure.
mean, as far as the top 12 receiver, I think those days are long gone.
The real question is, I'm curious to see it with Woods, because I think he will get hit with targets. I do in that offense, because who's going to have them? Is it the player, or is it really Sean McVay just kind of sitting back there pulling the
Pull the
strings,
I love
and
the
like,
yeah.
let's see what happens. Because I mean, imagine Allen Robinson comes in, goes off, and does his thing, and then
Yeah.
Robert Woods over there, he can't really get it going in Tennessee.
It'll be honestly that'll be like the Sean McVay like okay,
Swan
this
song,
guy,
baby.
we knew he was the real deal, but like this is
Yeah,
wait, I got my chat in the way. Keep it up.
I almost
Okay.
took him.
Yeah.
I went
almost
Malik
took him,
Willis, boys.
Willie.
I did it. I'll be the sucker.
I almost took him. Not gonna lie.
Cody, give us that last one here, and then we can kind of wrap this up.
Sure.
Wait, do I get to pick?
Do you want to
'Cause I'm gonna want to pick one.
Yeah, you pick. Yeah. Go ahead.
We both gave running backs, wide receiver.
You want a wide receiver? Okay.
Yep. I want it's because we did
So-
running backs. It's the only reason that I want
Yeah.
this wide receiver to be talked
I felt a
about.
little
Yeah.
gross about my other running back, so I'm okay with this. So
Good. Because
Um,
I don't
this
know
is-
anything about him.
this is one that I've been seeing more and more. I don't want to say hype, but I feel like he's getting talked about. And we saw him go relatively early. And when I say relatively, not really early, but like he's going in dynasty drafts. So I think things are coming around, but I have some love here. So it's Rashad Bateman, 90th overall and wide receiver 38. There's not a ton of productivity to say like, hey, this guy is coming to this next level. Missed the first 5 games of 2021. In the rest of the season, he had a pace of 65 catches for 750 yards. Not terrible numbers for a number 2 on a low pass volume offense, but I'll admit
Without
here,
Lamar.
without Lamar, but I'll kind of own here like, hey, the numbers aren't going to blow you away. But Hollywood Brown's gone. Hollywood Brown had 146 targets last year. And for anybody that kind of comes back and says like, yeah, but Mark Andrews is there. Yeah, Mark Andrews isn't getting any more targets than he got. I mean, he got flooded, and he's going to get flooded again. It's not that I think Andrews is coming backwards.
Yes.
I just don't think
Nice
those
word.
146 targets are anywhere going to Andrews. They got to find another home. And I think that home's Rashad Bateman. And at 90th overall, I mean, even if he gets, I'm not saying he's going to get 146 targets, but if you tell me Rashad Bateman gets between 100 and 120, you better be taking him as wide receiver 38 off the board. That is pretty.
I don't have any hate with that. I'm all about that.
I know this is going to be a tough one for me too, because I have so much love for Rashad Bateman and so much love for the opportunity that just presented itself, right? They're a run first team. Everybody gets that freaking point. You don't have to jam that down our throat. The offense could go through it. Mark Andrews just fine.
Yep.
But we sure saw Hollywood Brown effective with his targets.
Sure.
Actually, Hollywood Brown getting loaded with targets.
Hollywood
last
was
year. I
like
think he had 150
6th in the league, 146. I think he was like 6th in the league in targets. And Andrews got his. It's not like nobody else got any.
Lamar wants to throw. Like, and he has
does.
more
Fair.
say. I see what they're planning for, but he has more say than them just kind of turning I'm not a new leaf. It's going to be somewhere in between last year's numbers and 2020, which Alex always kind of tells me that, but he makes it sound much more like it's going to be last year's numbers, and I would be surprised. They're passing attempt numbers. Sorry.
Yeah, and there's some
they hit
fairness in
600
that.
last year, I think.
Did they actually? I didn't think it was.
They
quite,
actually hit
did they?
600. It was
Okay.
ridiculous last year.
Targets or reception
but
or
passing
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 attempts?
attempts.
and obviously some of it was when Lamar was out. I mean,
They threw heavy when he was out, and they didn't
That's
have
what
their
I mean.
RBs. Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. They didn't have their
But
RBs last
I
year.
don't need all 150 targets from Hollywood Brown to make this a good draft here. You know what I mean? Like
Not at wide
even if-
receiver 38.
No, even if
Yeah.
he gets 100, and I think the number's higher than that, but
6'11.
6'11. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if he gets
which is like
100.
significantly more because they're typically right around 470. Sorry, Cody, I cut you off twice.
You're fine, dude. You're fine. Yeah, I just think there's so many targets there and nobody logical for them to
I
go
like
to.
that.
The easy answer is Andrews, but what's he going to get? 220? Like there's just nowhere to go for
No.
Andrews.
No, it's
targets.
fair.
I
That's
mean,
fair.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder. So like Lamar, let's say Lamar throws 470 times, which I think is kind of low, but that's right around what Lamar. Don't. Who whispered it? Stop. No. He will probably be looking at. I think
Is
Duvernay
Alex
is
on
a
this
fun pick for
podcast?
best ball.
It'll come up.
Yeah.
Is
I think
Alex
he's fun
on
for
here?
best
I think
ball.
I hear Alex whispering.
I mean, I'll throw a dart on him at the end of a redraft.
We do it in
I'll tell you, I didn't want to go.
My boy,
here,
my
because
boy
I
got
didn't want
taken in this league. I'm kind of I'm kind of upset. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't want to go here because I didn't really want this to be my story. And I love Mark Andrews. I don't think he repeats that target share. His
No!
target either.
Oh, maybe
155?
Still,
Yeah, it was
that's
quite bad.
insane.
I haven't projected.
It's
decent.
He'll get over 130.
Agreed. But even
Yeah.
if he comes down 15 or 20, we already freed up 150. Like, there is an ungodly amount of targets available on this team.
Yeah.
And it could be Duvernay. I mean, I'm okay with
He'll
people
get some.
taking whatever their shot is. Like,
Yeah. But
I
I'm
think-
with you
I
at
think
Bateman.
you need to take a shot on this team.
Because
Nobody's
you're
drafting
right.
a receiver on the Rams. Why isn't a receiver on the Rams being drafted? We're just not drafting any. It's crazy.
no, I'm with you on that. I like that call.
Oh,
But I
this
do
is
like
close
Duvernay,
to the
though.
number one conversation we just had. Christian
I'm not
Kirk,
following.
you said Christian Kirk was the lowest
Oh.
number one. Rashad Bateman's right there.
Let me ask you that,
Yeah.
Cody. Would you rather
That's
have Christian
weird.
Kirk or
It's gotta be
Bateman?
It's got to be
I'd rather
Bateman.
have Bateman.
I'd rather have
Yeah, I
Christian
think I'll
Kirk.
do- I'll go Bateman easily.
I'd
I'm
rather
I'd
go
go
smashing
Christian
it
Kirk.
like crazy. We've
Yeah.
seen a
Very
lot
close.
of Christian Kirk. Like his stench, right? We talk about the stench a lot. The
He
stench
does
of
carry
Christian
that.
Kirk has something.
What
Rashad,
do you
all
mean
you smell is
stench?
like
He was wide receiver.
you smell
26.
flowers.
He
and
carries that
fields of
Brandon Cooks
dreams.
aroma.
He
It's
was
that Brandon
wide
Cooks
re-
aroma. Is what
I
it
am
is.
fine with the Brandon Cooks aroma.
No,
Give me
I
that.
agree. Like those players can be
Nom, nom,
okay,
nom,
but
nom.
nobody.
I'll
nobody
eat that up all day.
He carries that
Give me
stench that he just doesn't
stench.
get drafted.
Rashad Bateman smells like a load of fresh, clean laundry. Like here's a bunch of upside
Yeah.
on what you can do in this.
Good
He
clothes.
luck
smells like
with
Devin
that.
Duvernay just
Good
did
luck.
his laundry and he put his fresh jockstrap on.
You know, you
Bateman-
guys go
Bateman
have
wide
fun with your
receiver one,
clean
baby.
laundry. I'll take my stench down in the 9th round, and I'll
Hey,
win a
let's-
championship.
Hey, this is an easy bet. Let's do it.
Line it up, baby.
Okay. All right. Put it up. I like this one. And I
That's a
don't
good
feel that
bet.
great.
I like.
I don't
that
feel
bet.
that great about it, but it's a good bet.
I like that.
Oh, I feel
bet.
great about it. Now,
Yeah.
now that he's on a dynasty team of mine, he's wide receiver 1 this year, baby. Let's go.
Someone did take
did trade him away to win.
my late round baby, KJ Osborne.
Oh, I saw you get burned.
I was
by
so
that.
upset.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
A
about
tear,
cussed out
literally
the
a
whole-
tear. Just
We were
kinda-
at Scott Fishbowl, a charitable event, and you were ready to flip the table and start cussing out everyone once.
Yeah, I
KJ
almost threw
Osborne
something
went.
at somebody.
Although
Can
Rob lost like 4 guys in a row, but that was that was
So-
I gotta-
awkward.
That was the
I-
last.
I'm doing what I fight. I always complain about us going long and saying we got to do better, but I'm going to do it again because I just remembered a hilarious story from the Scott Fishbowl that we're going to close with. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Fair.
I'm ready for it.
So we're sitting there at the table and our picks coming up, and these two are talking about players that I just want no part
I know
of.
where he's going.
No part of. And I'm like, are we really? Is this where we're going right now? And they're like, yeah, this and this and this. I'm like, I'm just going to step out for a minute. You guys do your thing this round. I'm going to step out. So I just stepped into the hallway. I had a beer. So I just stood in the hallway, drank my beer. I come back in and I said, this is who you picked? And it all comes back around to being they didn't even draft who they thought they drafted. They didn't know who they got.
No. That's not what happened.
Okay,
What
then say your version of it. But you
Okay.
didn't. You
So
had somebody
Mario-
different than you thought you drafted.
on the drive there, right? I'm driving. I got a lot going on. He's texting us like every 2 minutes, so I'm trying to follow along with it. He goes, "I want this rookie tight end." It came
Oh
to me.
yeah,
Yes,
It came
yes,
to me in a
yes.
dream. That's what he
Yes,
says to us,
yes,
right?
that's what it is. What's his
Okay.
name? Greg or Dale?
Greg
What was
Dulich.
Greg
Greg
Dulich.
Dulich, yeah.
Okay. It came to me in a dream. We have to take him. Okay. Whatever, dude. Anyway, so we're sitting there.
So Robbie's like pushing this other name, right?
No, Trey McBride, right? That's who we got.
Thinking
Trey
this was
McBride.
the
Thinking
So
it's
tight
Greg
end that I
Dulich.
mentioned
Thinking
earlier.
It's
But you
Greg
never
Dulich.
never mentioned that though. He never said this is your dream. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
Time
sorry.
out. Yes, I did. I said
No.
what I said. Mario, we're gonna do this. This is your boy, right? That's exactly
That's what he said.
what-
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. I was like, yeah, I mean, I like Trey McBride. He's cool.
Jesus Christ.
What? I can't have more. My boy, only the ones that come in my
How
dream.
many,
dream.
how many rookie tight end boys do you have?
Oh, there's one more, Jelani Woods. Big fan. I think he.
So
could
I
have maybe
butchered it
too.
slightly, but I was closer than you're giving me credit. You
Yeah,
really
a little
didn't. You really didn't draft who you thought you drafted. Like
in the
Robbie
sense
thought
of
he
like
drafted the player
Yeah.
Mario wanted, and he drafted a rando. I'm
The
like,
whole
so
time I'm
glad I
like,
not
this is
didn't
not a
your
draft
rando.
this.
Trey McBride's a great pick.
The
I
whole time,
think.
like, this is
I-
your guy. We got
I
him. We're getting him.
I also realized I shouldn't have left these two without parental supervision.
Communication is not our strong suit. I guess we were pretty much talking like cavemen to each other.
It really wasn't a bad pick. It was just hilarious to watch
I'll
you guys
take it,
realize
yeah.
it wasn't who you thought it was.
I was so upset when I figured that out. It was ridiculous.
Such a good time. I can't wait to go
It was.
back.
We
I
had a
already
few
applied
beers
for
in us
Scott
too,
Fishbowl
so
13.
Don't hold it against us.
It was a good time. Really good time.
Mhm.
All right, everyone. That's all we had for you guys. Make sure you hit up those mid-round snags, steals, whatever you want to
Christian
call
Kirk.
them. Submit us some that you think are really nice going rounds 4 through 8. Send them on at Twitter, dadbod, at dadbodfs. We're also I might as well keep on plugging. We're also on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook at Dadbod Fantasy Squad. We'll post the audio of tonight's episode to Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, and something that begins with a C plus more. I can never remember the C one.
All the big ones. We're on all
There's
the
one
big
with a
ones.
C.
Go see us. You'll find us. Look
What's
us
the
up.
one with a C? I just took Malik Willis, and I'm pumped about it. Cody's now on the board in our dynasty. We're going to keep on rolling with that. For myself, for Robbie Bobby, for Cody, peace.